Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist who goes to Europe and complains that the trains are too small. There's so many of these now, it seems like we're starting a series. And if we were, this would be part 4 of the series, Fat Activist Goes to Other Country, Complains That X is Too Small. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple of bonus clips from people claiming that body positivity does not promote obesity, so be sure to stick around until the end. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
For reasons why traveling with public transport in Europe is traumatizing for me as an American plus-sized woman.
It's traumatizing. Okay.
All the seats are extremely narrow.
Those don't even have armrests, so we could occupy both of those seats if we wanted. We could put one cheek on each seat.
Does this even fit an average-sized person?
Yes.
There is extra space for wheelchair people, which is good. But there are no wider seats for the spherically challenged.
Spherically challenged. At this point, you might be wondering if this is satire. I am also wondering that. This is the same person who last time said horizontally challenged.
How is that not discrimination?
Is this one of J-Bay's burner accounts? Calling seats that aren't wide enough to accommodate us discrimination is classic her.
Just like the seats, the check-in entries are way too narrow. I feel so dehumanized when people watch me struggle to get through the gates.
If only there were something we could do to make ourselves fit into seats and fit through gates. Too bad there's not.
Also, how does someone with a wheelchair even fit through this?
I'm guessing wheelchair access is somewhere else.
The platforms can only be reached,
And hopefully they have an elevator for wheelchair people as well. Because these stairs are not wheelchair accessible either.
by steep and very long stairs. There are escalators sometimes.
They just shut them all down. Damn you Europeans and your commitment to walking. Dang it! They're like, yeah, we have escalators here, but we turned them all off, you fat Americans. I love how they have escalators there just to tease you lazy Americans. They're all turned off, though, and taped off. There's a sign, it's all like, Americans this way, and it's just pointing to the escalator.
But they are always broken. Do they do this on purpose?
Yes.
There is a huge gap between the platform and the train entrance.
Okay, step over that. Mind the gap, as they say, right? Don't step down into this part and end up under the wheels, I would recommend.
It makes me feel very anxious every time when I step into a train.
What? This is no different than walking up any other type of stairs, right? Like, just don't step down in that hole. Don't step down into the mystery hole of death.
And remember, my body isn't the problem. The system is.
My body is not the problem. The system is. You know what? I agree. I've been saying that for years. Nothing about myself is my own fault. It's actually the system and everybody else. Alright, so that was another classic American goes to Europe and can't fit into stuff. Those never get old. I love those a lot. I'm pretty sure that entire page is satire, but I don't care because it's hilarious. All of the escalators are always broken. What's going on over there? I would say there's nothing wrong with Europe not accommodating people living in a larger body. They have walkable cities, public transport, and all this stuff that you have to be in fairly decent shape to use. And also walking is part of the culture, part of the transportation system, as far as I know. As far as I know, there are cities where everything is accessible via foot, so you get a lot of walking in, which is really good for you. So, if the seats are too narrow on the train in Europe, our only solution is to force them to make bigger seats. That's all that could be done here. There's literally no other solution to this problem. Next.
Can somebody please explain to me what idiot created the trend of thinking that body positivity meant we were promoting fatness?
Right here. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to shake them. Because I'm old enough to remember when the body positivity movement started, and I was actually skinny when it started.
I think it started like back in the 60s or 70s or something, didn't it? So I don't think you are old enough to remember that, bestie. You look pretty good for 100 or whatever.
And it basically just meant don't be a dick to fat people.
No, I don't believe it started that way at all. I believe it was started for people that have physical deformities and burn victims and stuff like that. Or such is my understanding. Lately, we see a lot of fat activists saying that it was started by fat people for fat people, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What about all the burn victims and amputees and those people?
You grew up in the 90s or the early 2000s.
I did.
Fat people really couldn't exist in public without somebody telling them they were fat. And
No, it was really just the same as it is today. Humanity has not changed. People have not changed. Some people were jerks and they'd be like, hey, look, a fat person, you are fat. But the vast majority of people would not do that.
I'm seeing that resurge where, as a fat woman, it's like people are just like, don't think that I know that I'm fat. And my favorite thing to do is be like, I'm fat?
Okay, you're pretty funny, and I like that response. If somebody were to tell me, hey, you're fat, or hey, you're old, that would be my response too. Like, wait, what? Old? Really? Oh, shit. This is the first I'm hearing of this. I haven't noticed every time I look in the freaking mirror, right? Like
no shit. Being body positive means when you see bigger people in the gym, you're not a dick to them.
We're setting the bar that low? Nobody's gonna be mean to somebody living in a larger body who's in a gym anyway. Unless it's like the dumbest moron that you've ever met in your life. Like, hey, fatty, look at you trying to better yourself. Like, what a moron. Hey, fatty, look at how fat you are. Look at you, you're in the gym. Where you should probably be if you want to turn your life around. Look at you turning your life around. Like, could you even take such an insult seriously? I would laugh right in your face.
Being body positive also means coming to terms that, yes, a lot of fat people's biggest haters are fat people that got skinny. Listen, I'll even say this.
The people who try to motivate you the most are people that have been where you are and have turned their lives around, and they're trying to give you tips.
Fat person's biggest hater is a self-hating fat person. And a lot of y'all go and lose the weight, and you never once learned how to love yourself as a fat person, so now you're skinny and miserable.
What? If we don't learn to love ourselves as a fat person, then when we lose the weight, we'll be miserable. What? Isn't it an act of self-love to do the hard work and have the self-control to lose the weight? What are you talking about? If you don't love yourself when you're drunk, you'll never love yourself when you're sober.
But it feels like it's being purposely undermined the way people are using the term body positivity to mean, they're promoting obesity. No, I'm promoting my right to exist in public without you being a dick to me. And if you are a...
Right, but do you need to go around promoting your right to exist in public without people being a dick to you? I'm guessing that nobody says a word to you throughout your day-to-day life. How many times have you been fat-shamed this week in real life? And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, I'm just saying it's probably not as prevalent as you're making it out to be.
Dick to me, then I'm gonna be a dick right back, and you can't get mad at that. But the biggest tip, as someone whose weight has gone up and down and up and down, and now I'm getting tested for Cushing's disease, my biggest tip and trick would be learn how to love yourself, because as someone who has lost the...
Why are you giving tips and tricks? I'm really looking for tips and tricks from people that have succeeded at various difficult tasks, not from people that have accomplished nothing and are telling me to be happy just where I'm at. That's not who I'm looking up to for guidance, honestly. I'm not trying to be mean, but seriously, who are these tips for? Who's coming to you for guidance?
Weight and put it back on. Let me tell you, if you lose that weight and you don't confront your emotional trauma surrounding your weight, you don't confront the bullying you've been through, even the bullying you did on yourself, if you don't confront your need for validation in others and the outside world, if you don't confront the trauma...
Dude, it's really ironic that you're going on this tirade, because if you don't confront your personal issues, you will continue to self-soothe with food.
Traumas that maybe occurred to you when you were in a skinnier body. That's one of my biggest issues, is when I lose weight, I become a walking, talking trauma response, because every time I was essayed or when I was almost kidnapped was when I was skinny, and that fucked with my head. I'm
sorry that bad things have happened to you in the past, but you're jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. If you're keeping all of this weight on to protect you from attackers or whatever, I would say that's bad. because the excess weight is also harming you. And I'm not trying to make light of whatever might have happened to this person at all. Not at all.
Don't confront that while you're fat. You're never going to be happy when you're skinny. You will never be happy, point blank, period. I hate to break that to you. But
Okay, well, if you don't confront all of those personal issues, you will continue to self-soothe with your substance of choice, which happens to be food.
But body positivity. Just don't be a dick, man, because somebody's fat. Like, damn, why is that so hard?
Well, that is not the origin of body positivity. And I agree, people shouldn't go around being mean to people living in a larger body or being mean to people based on their physical appearance at all. However, it's very ironic that you said, until you learn to be happy with all these various things when you're fat, you'll never be happy when you lose the weight. That was very ironic because all of this excess weight is kind of a symbol of the emotional baggage that we are carrying around. You said yourself that you're carrying all of this because of negative things that have happened to you in the past, and you're using this as some sort of protective layer to keep weirdos away from you. So you need to get over those mental issues so you can stop using this self-abusing behavior to try to protect yourself. Typically, when somebody loses weight, it's because they are getting over their issues, and shedding the weight is fairly symbolic of them shedding some of their emotional baggage and or issues. If we were truly happy and content, we wouldn't use substances that make us feel good in the short term, but harm us in the long term. As somebody that used to use various substances, I can tell you that that's true. I have quit more substances than the average person has even tried. Hard drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, etc. Next.
There's like literally no skinny person who has seen a fat creator being like, oh my god, body positivity, I love my body the way that it is, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go gain 300 pounds.
That is what I did.
It's this one for me because people will get mad and call it promoting obesity even when a person is literally not even saying like, oh, I love my body, like I exist the way I am and I'm happy with myself and like I deserve to still have a good life even though I'm fat. Like it won't even be that content. It'll be the kind of content that I make where I'm like, when you're fat, you're treated like shit. Let's talk about it. And someone will be like, you're promoting obesity.
Are you sure?
Girl, I barely even post like a full body, like...
You're like, happy Tuesday. And somebody's like, man, stop promoting obesity.
Fashion content. Like, that's not even what I do. I do like cultural analysis.
Is that what we're calling this? More than Tracy T? All right. That's what I'm doing too. I'm doing cultural analysis. That lends a lot of legitimacy to my degeneracy.
And yet, you're still gonna call it promoting obesity just because I'm not like, I don't know, crying into a tub of ice cream?
If you were crying into a tub of ice cream, then you would not be promoting obesity, okay?
I don't know, man. Like, it's actually wild what they will call promoting obesity. They literally just don't want to see fat people.
I agree. A lot of people say a lot of silly crap, especially to people living in a larger body online. But hopefully nobody's accusing you of promoting obesity when you're just having a video talking about how the nutty professor sucks or whatever.
Just don't want to see us on their little screen, on their big screen, any screens. And
you can be on the medium screen though, just not the big or the little one. Those are reserved.
Anywhere in the world. Like, they just do not want us to exist, period, full stop.
Are you sure? Are you sure that we don't all have our own horrible problems to deal with on the regular? You sure I don't have my own voices in my head telling me that I'm not good enough and I'll never accomplish shit? You sure I don't have a whirlwind of my own emotions and problems going on in my head?
To them, they are so used to a media environment where there are like so few fat people, despite like there being quite a few fat people in the United States in real.
Yeah, so what are you even talking about? How much fat shaming could there be when everybody's fat? Although everybody is also in denial. 9 times out of 10, if somebody calls you fat, it's because they are fat, right? Like, we got a bunch of 50 and 60 pound overweight people focusing on people that are 200 pounds overweight and calling them fat so they don't have to look at themselves in the mirror. We got a bunch of chubby people watching videos of morbidly obese people so they feel better about being chubby.
Life. And they're so basically like acclimated to this media environment where like anybody who isn't thin is not allowed to be on a screen.
What? What are you talking about? Movies and stuff? Don't we have enough fat representation now?
And that was like, that was like 10 years ago that was the case. That if they see it, they're like angry. They're like viscerally like, you don't belong there. And I think there's like a you don't belong there about the loving your body stuff too. But like, you don't even gotta be doing anything as long as it's like not hating fat people. Anything that you say that's not just being fat is awful.
Are you sure? I know people are jerks or whatever, but is the fat shaming really this prevalent? I've seen underneath your page that all of the comments are like other fat activists or body positive people or whatever being pretty supportive to you. Like,
is abhorrent to them. And even if you do say being fat is awful and it shouldn't be, like being fat is awful and that's something that's wrong with the world, that's still promoting to them. Everything is promoting.
well, I don't know if it is.
Existence is promoting. Talking about the hardships that come along with an existence that is viewed as less than by most of the population. That's promoting. Okay, so who's watched one of my videos and thought, I'm gonna go gain 300 pounds? I wanna know. Who did I promote obesity to? Am I successful? Do I get a commission? Let me know.
Nobody's gonna watch your content who is currently skinny and be like, you know what? I'm gonna gain 300 pounds. But if somebody is 300 pounds and they watch that content, they might be like, wait a minute. They're right. I don't have a problem. The world is the one with the problem. And then they will not change themselves and they will go on to have a very low quality life. So I think that's what various commenters were talking about. And no, I'm not saying it's okay to go make fun of people based on their physical appearance. And I honestly don't think that that's happening that often. When I go on TikTok and look at these people's pages, I see nothing but supportive comments. Anytime a fat activist makes a video about literally anything, the top comment underneath is like, can I just say how beautiful you look right now? Like, they're always just fluffing each other up with nonsense that doesn't mean anything. All of this content is way more prevalent and popular on TikTok, and it's literally just an echo chamber. So anyway, I disagree with all of the aforementioned, but what do you think? Is it discrimination that train seats in Europe aren't big enough to accommodate somebody living in a larger body? Will you not be happy as a thin person unless you were happy as a fat person? And is it promoting obesity to encourage people to ignore their doctor's advice? Leave a comment below. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.